Ladies, let's continue talking about the nervous system. I am hearing everyone talk about this, at least, people who I follow, people I'm surrounded with. I'm in this little coaching group that I joined just to hear some different classes. And it's been very interesting. A lot of the coaches on there, almost all of them, regardless of what they're teaching, preaching about, have some kind of understanding and background about regulating your nervous system. And I don't think it's by accident that we have all these professionals, all these coaches, all these trainers, teachers, everyone starting to talk about it. And I just think it's so funny. When I was talking about this years ago, people were like, yeah, let's just talk about God, which is awesome, but God created your nervous system, and it is a very holy experience. And we're either working out of this abundance mode, peace, or fear and scarcity, right? So to me, all of life is a highly spiritual thing. Like, how do we relate to men? How we honor ourselves as a vessel? How do we have discernment to when we go out and do things versus when we sit back? All of it takes massive discernment, and again, all of it, physiological, biological, emotional, it's all, I don't know, to me it's all it's a spiritual experience, but we are here on earth basically. So I was listening to the class just recently today, and that's why I wanted to do some more notes about it. But it's a refresher course for me. But she was talking about this lady. She said she was building her business and she was successful and everything was going good, and she's making $1 quadrillion, like a lot of people in some of these fields, I guess. But she said, I was just getting burnt out. I'm working a corporate job. I'm trying to do a side hustle. I'm trying to have a romantic life. And I'm so used to go so hard, burning myself out. My body would always pay the price for that, right? And then I just started to go into this collapse mode. So from sympathetic, flight, do your thing, to parasympathetic, but the collapse mode, dorsal vagal collapse, right? Ladies, this should not be, the first time you're hearing me talk about this. Go back into psychoeducation if you're new, if you haven't heard the videos, and listen, learn about the nervous system. But anyways, she said she got into this collapse mode, and then it's like, okay, so then what? I keep grinding and hustling and trying to make money regardless how exhausted I am. How do you find this balance? Like, can I truly make money and have love and fulfillment in my life without constantly feeling like I'm just giving out? So that's when, in her work, helping women, sell and do business stuff, she talks a lot about the business, the nervous system. And so one of the exercises she had, and the questions I've asked you many times, all of you ladies, is, what's your primary nervous state? Are you in that ventral mode, that rest, creativity? You can eat, engage in conversations with people. It's your social, your body's in optimal immune system mode. You're relaxed. I mean, we talk about spirituality. This is the best time to be flowing and having these creative ideas and revelations from God, and you have the supernatural ability to be patient and wise and kind and mature and, be present. Or are you in that fight, flight mode, constantly going, constantly moving, constantly doing, constant to-do list? Your brain is constantly running. You're always, you're here, but you're there in your head. I know I could relate. I don't know, building a business to me has been one of the, not to get off track, but one of the most probably challenging things I've probably have ever done, because you have 1 million things to do, it feels like, especially in the beginning. Do this, develop that, change this, all these licenses. There's always so much to do. Okay, pivot here. Okay, reach out to that person. And that's something I've been even trying to figure out with myself and my nervous system. And so, that's why I have my own people, my coaches help me, when am I over functioning, overdrive? I feel it, my body feels it. And how does that impact my relationships? Okay, well, what happens when you feel dead, when you're here, but again, your brain is there? That's not feminine energy, that's not eros, that's none of that. And then there's that collapse mode of dorsal vagal. You're feeling hopeless. You feel like no matter how hard you're trying, nothing's happening. Again, apply it to your business, your life, your relationships, your parenting. That collapse mode of like, what's the point, to in more severe cases? Do I even want to get out of bed? Does anything even matter? I don't care. And even apply that to like your dating life. Like, let's say, or your husband wants to like take you out. Babe, what do you want to do? Whatever. I don't even know. Like, I don't think any woman wants to live like that and feel that, right? So, you know, and I've even for myself, I use business as an example because obviously this training was a little business oriented, but I've had times where it's like, okay, what's the point? Who's gonna even do this? And you know, and then I have to identify, okay, Elena, is that victim mode? We can't do that. And so here's the thing, like for myself, for you women, this is not about you learning more information and having more mental knowledge and education. This is you sitting down and renavigating, rerouting, as your GPS in your car will say. And instead of traveling on this road that's familiar, whether you hustling and grinding and pushing and exhausting and transferring your anxieties onto people and pressuring them to do X, Y, and Z, or, you know, that collapsed mode where you're barely trudging along and feel like you want to quit and give up, and what's the point of life? I mean, think about in terms of faith, like your faith is just down in the depths at that point. Again, spiritual topic to me. When do we feel like we're the closest to God? When do we feel like we are connected in our inheritance, our promise, our birthrights, these spiritual things that a lot of us believe in? I don't think it's when we're in collapse mode. And I think even when we're in that like go, go, go mode, there's still a lot of resentment and anger. You know, why do I do this? Why is it always me? No. So for all of us, I think it's a very spiritual thing, getting into ventral mode. But anyways, the more we degree by degree, okay? Some of you ladies, I love you so much, but when you sit down with me, even in my individual sessions with you or if alone, and if you sat down for the first time and you tried to focus or create your safe space, these exercises for processing emotions and triggers, or you are trying to stay focused without shutting down or getting distracted, and you're getting mad because the first time or even the fifth time you did this, it's not working out the way you wanted, come on. Please don't do that to yourself. You know that this is a massive muscle you are learning. You are reorientating your whole system. Think of like your whole planet universe, right? You're not just pivoting one tiny little thing. You know, it's not like my hair is right here and I just moved it right there and there my life has changed. No, it's emotional regulation. It's you recognizing, wait, what's going on? Which state am I in? Wait, what's happening? How do I get myself going? Oh, okay, I'm in that collapse mode. What do I need to do to give myself kind of a little gentle nudge or even shock to like wake up? That's why I've posted those exercises with your eyes, with your vagus nerve shutdown, humming, all these different little tips and tricks we could do. Little cold plunge. You're not ready for that? What about splashing some cold water on your face, or you know, I don't know, having like a cold popsicle or whatever. Like all these little things we have to help you get like again, not shock in a bad way, but just kind of awaken your nervous system, awaken that vagus nerve that's like in that collapse mode. Or maybe if you're already in that high cortisol level, high go, anxiety, aka, without people even realizing, a lot of times that's just their like anxiousness. I've had so many people I've talked to where they will never identify, never relate that there's a lot of anxiety in their system, and yet that's all it is. It's a lot. They overwhelm anyone who comes in contact with them. And which then think of the power of when you actually have a regulated nervous system and how you can regulate and co-regulate with others. But anyways, if you're in that sympathetic mode, fight, flight, go, you don't need another shock to your system to like waken you up. You don't need, you know, another cup of caffeine, or you don't, you know, a lot of times you don't need things that inject more cortisol. Actually, one of the coaches had said back in the day, she's like, okay, panic plunge, got it. Or not panic plunge, but cold plunge, got it. This, done it, check. Until she's like, I realized I was on overdrive. I was having issues from fertility to just exhaustion to marriage relationship problems. I did not need to do that to myself. I needed to start to like rest and pull back. And she said, I went to this event thing, a retreat, and some people were doing cold plunges, and for the first time back in the day, she'd be like, here I am already in the water, and this time she's like, no, I can't do that. I'm not shocking my system. I'm actually trying to de-escalate and calm down. And so for her, you know, it was like her coach was like, go stand outside on the grass with your feet and feel the sunlight on your face. And for someone who's like, go, 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 you know, speeding down on the road and running through Costco, and oh my gosh, you know, some of you girls can relate. She was like, when my coach said, go feel sunlight on your face, she's like, oh my gosh, how dumb, so dumb. Why am I paying money for this? Until she's like, it was 1 degree every day. You shift, you change, you nurture, cultivate, as I teach you girls. And so she's like, wow, I just started to realize how not present I was. I was standing in the sun, and I'm everywhere but feeling the sun, and starting to slow down and feel things and feel sensations and feelings, and just like the lightness or pleasures or just the good things in life. So again, this is not a prescription. Okay, you have this, go do this. You must go do this. Because that's the thing. I'm figuring out my own vessel, and I have spent a lot of time on this. So I don't expect anyone to be where I'm at, okay? However, I don't expect that the things that soothe me will soothe your nervous system. And so anytime I have a girl who is like, hey, tell me exactly what to do in this exact moment, like map it out, I'm very hesitant to do that. I can give you girls skills, toolboxes. That's why I'll even go on YouTube sometimes and attach a certain video for different ideas. I trust you will then go on YouTube, Pinterest, whatever, and look at different things that can help you in terms of nervous system regulation, grounding skills, etc. And you figure out what feels good for you, and you will not know until you experiment with it. And no, it's not a waste of time if you did something and you realize that didn't help. You're realizing, okay, that does not help, but this does. So this is not, especially when we're talking about like feminine energy or this feminine work, this isn't Yelena's equation is 50xz equals love and abundance. No, yours might be 225x 3 degrees. Right, you get the metaphor. And for you, that feels good. And it's not a right or wrong thing. It's what feels good. Tune into yourself right now. What would feel good? A cup of just cold water with ice? Wonderful. How awesome if you know what it is that you need. So the thing is, like, when we're operating out of this go-go, and as this first coach that I was talking about was creating her business, she's like, wow, I was just doing out of hustle and grind. I was exhausted. Sure, it's bringing money, not sustainable. My body, not working. My relationships, my everything is just, I'm like half dead. I'm burnt out. And so she's like, well, I still want to like make money, but how do I get to a place where I'm making money out of abundance? And is that possible? Can I actually be in a state of calm and peace? And she's like, the more work I started to do, because it's so easy, again, in our default mode, in our survival state, we always make survival decisions. But in my survival mode of go, 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 you know, that was always gonna be my default until I started to intentionally get to ventral. And then she's like, when I started to really like occupy that, do the inner work, as I teach y'all to do, as I started to do all of that, I realized what in the world, I'm making even more money, and I'm so much more relaxed, and I'm not even working as hard and working as long. And the thing is, it's because she's like, I realized how my nervous system was responding, like how my ideas for like different launches and products were flowing so much better, obviously when we're in ventral mode. And then B, when I'm not like, okay, you want to get this product, and you know, freaking out other people's nervous system, I was in such a calm, safe mode that a lot of the women were like, wow, you feel really safe. Like, wow, I actually do want to work with you. I want to invest. I feel good. Because her nervous system felt good, not just her product, right? I'm sure her product was great. But just to, again, encourage you, do this stuff. Ladies, do the work. Do the work. I do it all the time. Sometimes I almost get annoyed how much work it is, but at the same time, I can't deny the fact that life does get better. And, you know, as this one woman said, she's like, okay, well, I didn't even come from crazy traumas, and, you know, we all still have some kind of crap to sort through. And she's like, it wasn't until 4 months of constantly like trying to reorientate my nervous system, calming down, that I realized my anxiety level was cut by like 50%, which was insane. You know, and I think of a world where we just kind of, where people just get medicated because they don't know how to, they don't have the skills, the tools to sit down, calm themselves down, or process and do the work that they need, right? But what else do I want to say? Oh, the other thing that was mentioned was, yeah, what you practice is basically going to be what is safe and known. So ladies, the reason I keep saying cultivate safety, cultivate, 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 and I don't want it to sound annoying, but it's so, so incredibly important. I want you to spend time, whether when you're triggered, when you're not triggered, I don't care. Like, bring up those feelings. What's your go-to verse, go-to prayer, go-to memory, go-to sensation? You know, if it's sunny outside, I already know, like having some sun on my face, that feels wonderful. Or, you know, my go-to picture, my go-to, how do I bring up this state of like, oh, you know, I have my memories. Oh, you know, when Tanner and I were dating and we went here, did that, or how he looked at me. I've practiced this. Those are those neurons. I can whip this stuff up pretty quick, even if I'm dysregulated, because I've practiced. And that's the thing. When your nervous system is in that panic and that survival mode, it's not gonna go into let's just jump into calm, peace, and quiet when you have never felt it, you've never cultivated, or you've never been present in that state. And I'm not saying, you know, never, but my point is your nervous system you're not gonna jump into something that is unknown, because then it's not going to feel safe. You understand the familiar, and that's why sometimes it's toxic. The things that we know and they're just so familiar, it feels safe, but you know, we all know it's not, and it's toxic. So my point is, again, the more you practice 1 degree by 1 degree, one step, cultivating the good stuff, the easier and stronger, like any muscle, it is for you to get into that state of remembering what ventral feels like, because you can't just whip it out of thin air and just think that, you know, someone taught you this topic and by day 2 you're just jumping and swimming in this, if you've lived in cortisol for 30 years or whatever, or even generationally when that stuff is really imprinted in us. So we are cultivating what we can, and it's almost like, I think of it as like a resource, like oil. So when we need it, we have it. Do we need it, use it all the time? No. But is it good to have it at hand when necessary? Yes. So hopefully, ladies, this goes in even deeper about these nervous system states. But again, the most important thing is you didn't just listen to a video. I want you to sit down and reflect. What is your go-to mode? How do you operate every day? When you're with kids, when you're out in the public, when you're at church, when you're at the store with your family, how are you? What's your nervous system state? And what is your predominant state, especially if it's like survival? And what do you do? What can you do to help yourself get into that ventral starting today? Starting today. What are those glimpses, glimmers to instill that goodness? So let me know what questions and thoughts you have, but hopefully this was helpful. So blessings and abundance, and I'll talk to you later.